This episode of the Golf Gambling Podcast from the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Underdog is our sponsor that we use every single day. So sign up with code Golf SGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. So start crushing CFB and NFL with Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Thanks as always for tuning into the Golf Gambling Podcast. Tough times in the fall because it's not much going on. If you can head over to Spotify and give us a 5-star rating, only you can prevent corporate gambling from taking over. So we have such a tournament this week. Like, we have a fun one this week. And the Shriners, we finally got TK back in the mix. We finally got Matt McCarty coming off of a win. So it should be a fun week because this is like the first time that we, like, on a weekly basis, that we're like, oh, it's real golf finally. Like, it's not just these like bullshit fall events. But the Shriners, even though the field's kind of weak, is usually a fun event. Obviously, we got Tom going for a three-peat, and we have a load of random names but underneath him that are trying to stop that from occurring. So let's just get right into the DFS pricing. We have 3 guys over 10K, which I'll make bigger real quick. TK, Davis Thompson, and Taylor Pendrith are all 10K and above. So what does that mean? Who's going to be owned? Who are we going to go to? So it's hard not to like Tom Kim after what he showed at the President's Cup and obviously his course history here. And when you think a golf course for Tom Kim, it just makes so much sense. Like, a guy who's going to hit every single fairway off the tee and get hot on approach and obviously can get hot on the greens. It makes so much sense. It's not a shocker that he's won here twice in a row. And is he going to do it 3 times in a row? I would say no, but there's no argument why he's the highest price golfer. Then from there, it's Davis Thompson and Taylor Pendrith. Obviously, one of them was on the President's Cup, one of them wasn't. I think there's a real answer in this 10K range, and I think the Tom Kim chalk is going to be worth it because I don't trust Davis Thompson. The man has not gained on approach since his win, and that was months ago. And Taylor Pendrith, he's been hit or miss. He's been doing it off the tee, doing it on approach, doing it with the putter. And now he's had this time off. Like, I like Taylor Pendrith when he was in the middle of that run he was on where he was just like gaining and just posting good results. Now it's kind of like, oh, he's had some time off. He's cooled off a little bit. He was trying to get to that President's Cup, and he did. So I think it's worth to eat that Tom Kim chalk at 10.8. He's not overpriced. You can easily build with him. And I'd rather go with some guys below him that have been playing better golf and have been playing of late. So that just brings us down to the 9K range. Jaeger, 9.9, Hoagie, 9.8, all the way down to Eric Cole at 9K flat. And there's definitely some names in this range that I want to talk about and I think can play well this week. So let's talk about Jaeger. Obviously, we were on him last week. I think it was around 30-1. We had him, gave us a little sweat. He was leading on Saturday for a while, and he can never quite get over that hump on Sunday afternoon with McCarty just playing like that. Honestly, shout out Matt McCarty, because what he did with a 54-hole lead was pretty damn impressive. Like, we see guys choke every single week, and him being in his 3rd career PGA Tour start, going out there and doing what he did, like, phenomenal. Shout out Matt McCarty. And that was just like a true ignorance is bliss situation. He never felt that PGA Tour pressure before. Obviously, he's done it on the Korn Ferry Tour or the minor league tour, but he's never felt that pressure before. And he got up there and just had nails all day. So shout out Matt McCarty. But let's talk about Steven Jaeger, because Steven Jaeger was pretty freaking good all week at the Black Desert. So, and also shout out that course. That course was visually amazing. I'm heading out to Vegas this weekend. Not for this golf tournament, but I might be there. I honestly didn't even realize when I had plans to go to Vegas for a while this weekend upcoming, and I didn't even think about the golf tournament happening this weekend, but we're going to be there. So Steven Jaeger gained strokes in every single category, gained strokes on approach for the first time since the Olympics. And that's a great sign for Jaeger, who once he gets rolling, and especially in DFS, he's good. Like, he posts that good result, then it's a backdoor top 10, then it's another T12, then it's another backdoor T10. So I like when Jaeger gets rolling. I don't mind the 9.9. Let's do it. Kurt Kitayama. I'm definitely down for, because what he did at the Black Desert in terms of strokes gained approach and strokes gained ball striking, that was absurd. That was truly absurd. He was just an absolute display of ball striking. So if it sticks, it sticks. He's a little cheaper than he was last week, and the course makes enough sense. I mean, if you're gaining 10 on approach and hitting a ton of fairways, you're going to play well here. So I'm definitely down for some Kurt at that price. But I want to talk about Tom Hoge because he's someone on paper who does make sense. He's played here a bunch. He knows his way around this golf course, and he's someone who I don't think is going to be overly chalky. He's coming off of a Pro Core championship out in Napa, where he gained 6 on approach. He gained 6 on approach, lost 9 at East Lake, and gained 8 on approach at Castle Pines. You get Tom Hoge at elevation, he'll gain strokes on approach. And this is a golf course that makes a ton of sense for him. So if I had to rank the top of this range, they all make sense. Jaeger, Hoge, and Kurt Kitayama. I'd probably go with Hoge 1, Jaeger 2, Kurt 3. It's Kurt and Jaeger are probably a coin flip for me, but I'd probably rank those 3. Then we get Bo Hostler, who I think is just, as these fields get a little better, is still a bit overpriced. Although I like him out in the desert, and he could definitely be a first round leader guy. But you have to pull strings here, and you have to pick guys. And I like some other guys over Kurt, like Seamus Power, one of the number 1 guy in my model. He makes so much sense when he like I said with Jaeger, once he starts playing well, he starts playing well. And Seamus Power, once he starts playing well, he plays well. That's back-to-back T11 finishes done in different ways. Like last week, he gained around 6 strokes on approach and another 1 on the putting greens. The week before, he gained 3 on approach and 1 on the putting greens. So I'm down for Jaeger. He's piecing it together. Power, he's piecing it together. Keith Mitchell. If Keith Mitchell is driving the ball well, I don't see how he can have a bad week. But when you look at his course history, he's driven it well here before and has had bad weeks. So it's tough to really know what you're going to get from Keith Mitchell. Him missing the cut last week as the highest priced golfer was just funny. Like, that's so Keith Mitchell. So I don't think we can go back to him. And then Matt McCarty will, at a high price, off a win, garnering some ownership, just pivot down to Eric Cole. Because when Eric Cole's finally not super popular and finally not like $9,900. So I'm definitely down for some Eric Cole. The last time he played golf was at the Sanderson Farms, finished T16, gained 10 strokes on approach. They don't just hand that out. So that was a really, really damn good week from Eric Cole. So let's talk about this 8K range. Before we get into the 8K range, got to talk to you quickly about Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Pick'em has one of their biggest menus of all sports: NFL, college, MLB, MMA, WNBA, NASCAR, and more. Their lobby is jam-packed with profit boosts. You can now use specials and boost on flex entries. I'm going to be making my picks. They're not on the website anymore, so definitely DM me for some of those underdog picks if you want it. But sign up with promo code GOLFSGPN to claim your special pick or first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Underdog Fantasy, promo code GOLFSGPN. And finally, Rhythm, SGPN's proud partner. Rhythm is the number 1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive models and get predictions in seconds. Build your own model, copy one of theirs, or press build a model for me, and they will give you predictions for every game, every prop. And they have a ton of stats, a ton of trends, a ton of research to give you more betting insights. So claim your 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. All right. 8K range. 8K range. Who do we have in the 8K range? Let's pull it up. We have Adam Hadwin leading us off down to Johnny Vegas. I said let's pull it up, then I got rid of it. So yeah, Adam Hadwin down to Johnny Vegas. Let me fix my screen real quick. All right, Adam Hadwin, the guy you want in the desert, the guy you want on a short positional course, definitely makes sense. It almost feels like it's too good to be true with Adam Hadwin. Like, he makes so much sense, but he's just like not a winner. But at $8,900 in DFS at probably 14 to 15% owned, he can finish T9. And he can make you some money. So I think Adam Hadwin makes a ton of sense, but I really like Cameron Davis. President's Cup snub season is totally back, and Cam Davis fits that narrative to a T. And you look at Cam Davis's course history, you look at Cam Davis's last start, T5 at Castle Pines, gaining 4 on approach. But Cam Davis on club down or shorter golf courses is absolutely tits. Cam Davis loves this style of golf, and he's played it really, really well here. So I definitely like Cam Davis at the top of this 8K range. Now we get down to Matt McNeely, Harry Hall, Ben Griffin, where I think Harry Hall and Maverick McNeely are both Vegas guys. I think they're both going to be a little bit owned. And at that inflated ownership, I think I'm going to be off of those two guys. Ben Griffin, I like him on Bermuda. JT Poston, he's kind of in a higher class than this range. I think he's just an objectively better golfer than a lot of guys that he's priced with. And he hasn't played since Castle Pines, but he had his best approach week at Castle Pines. His approach week at Castle Pines at altitude was the best approach week since the Shriners Open last year. The stars are aligning for JT, the postman, to play well. That's crazy. He's coming off of his best approach week since this event last year. I didn't even know that until right now. So with that being said, I'm down for some Posty. I can see Vegas getting in some trouble off the tee if he's a little wide. So 8K range, JT Poston, Cam Davis, and Adam Hadwin are probably my guys for sure. 7K range, probably a bigger range. Harris English, 7-9, down to, definitely a bigger range, down to Vince Whaley at 7K flat. Let me pull up some 7K golfers and tell you who I like. Let's break down the range. Harris English, great week last week. So shout out Harris. I wrote up earlier in the week that Harris English is just simply too good of a golfer to miss his first 3 cuts of the season. And what did he do? He went out, had a really good week at the Black Desert, and now he heads to a course where ask you similar questions. Maybe hopefully he could just be a little bit more accurate off the tee, although it doesn't really matter because he's usually a pretty accurate driver. Gained strokes across the board last week. And then JJ Spawn. I love JJ Spawn this week. $7,900. I'd probably pick him over Harris English. He came back after that withdrawal from the Sanderson Farms. Gained strokes in every category but putting. But he he gained strokes on approach again. JJ Spawn, the last time he lost on approach before the Sanderson Farms, which was only a round, was in March at the Valspar. So JJ Spawn's striping it. Like I said, I didn't think he would play last week if he wasn't healthy, and he played all right. I talked about last week that Eric Van Rooyen was priced up too high, and now he's jumped all the way back down to $7,700. His incoming form was not great, but he was priced up so high, ended up finishing T43. Now he's back in a price where he should be. I think this is a great buy spot for Eric Van Rooyen, who will not be super owned. Middle of the 7K range, there's a lot of golfers who make a ton of sense. Austin Eckroat, Chan Kim are golfers who can stripe it and just gain strokes ball striking. Ryan Fox can shoot 62 or 75. So he's going to be 8% though. So if you want to pick Ryan Fox to hopefully have that nuts pick, maybe. Adams Fenton. We have to talk about Adams Fenton because what he did last week was a bit egregious. He was fucking, and then he just hit his chip on hole 1 of round 3, I believe. It was round 3. I think it was round 3. He got to the green, or not. No, this is what happened. He striped it down the middle on hole 1, fatted his approach shot, and then hit a chip back to his feet. Ended up making double on hole 1 of round 3 after being around the lead. So that shows you about Adam Hadwin's guts. The only time he won was back at the RSM when he came from behind and just posted a number on Sunday. So I don't know if I love Svensson. I kind of like some Austin Eckroat, Chan Kim better, but I also got like guys like Brendan Todd, Emiliano Grillo, Doug Gim around the 7-4, 7-3 range. Emiliano Grillo played fine at the Sanderson Farms where he gained on approach and he gained putting. That's great for Emiliano Grillo. Brendan Todd is a short course merchant. You only want him in specific spots. He only plays in spots that he knows he can probably fuck at. I do worry about his approach game. He lost over 6 strokes on approach in his last start, but he does have a T12 here. Doesn't have the best course history. It's going to boil down to that approach play for Todd. I'd probably prefer Grillo over Todd at the same price. And then Doug Gim. Doug Gim is also a Vegas guy, and he's a guy who's coming in striping it. Doug Gim gains off the tee, gains on approach every week, and he loses strokes putting every week. I will say, in Doug Gim's 4 trips here, he's gained strokes putting twice. So that's a good sign for Doug Gim. I like him at the bottom of the 7K range. I also don't mind Chandler Phillips. Chandler Phillips missed the cut on the number, I believe, last week, but he's a golfer who his 2 best attributes are driving accuracy and gaining strokes with the middle irons and short irons. That's what you're asked to do here. So that rounds up the 7K range. I'm not going to go too deeply into the 6K range because I have a whole podcast dedicated to that, but I will give out a name or two. And actually, I think he's not in the field anymore. I'll give out a name or two. Let's take a look at Pearson Coody. Pearson Coody, $6,500. He's a golfer who does it with a putter more times than not, but his best results have came on courses in which you have to hit the short irons well, short irons plus putter. I think Pearson Coody can do those two things. And then another golfer, Zach Blair, at the same price, $6,500, had all of that pressure at the Black Desert Championship, made the cut, which is a win for him, and he actually posted a decent result. He gained over almost 4 strokes on approach, just putt horribly. Zach Blair is not a horrible putter, and he's in some decent ball striking form, so why not give him a shot? But stay tuned for the rest of the content for this week. We got the bet show, we got the 6K show, and the final thoughts tomorrow night. So, yeah, you guys know the deal. Any questions, you know where to find me, and I'll catch you guys sometime tomorrow, maybe tonight. Peace out. Catch you then.